Hey family, I'm in the gun room here and I just wanted to record a quick video to explain kind of what I've explained to Mom a few times, my understanding of the will, and I'll send a couple pictures that I took of it in order for, I guess, to submit it to everybody so that at least what I hope everybody will be on the same page with the same understanding. And I'll try to make it quick and generic and just get right to it. I also took a picture of what I would like to see happen, kind of the four things that I take away from last night's talk, all agreeing on how we'll interact, assuming the positive, not the negative or the worst, assuming the best of each other. So hopefully you all will assume the best intentions of me in doing this is to get us all on the same page and not cause division. And the need to have kind of monthly or bi-weekly meetings on the phone, and then somebody to take notes and then share those notes of all the things that are covered, that we would agree that we are not being manipulative, or that we will not accuse anybody of being manipulative. Just because we're saying what we think and we're trying to convince somebody of something doesn't mean we're trying to manipulate them. We're just trying to get our points across and see if they will agree with us, and then touching base with each other individually a minimum of 1 month. So I'll jump into this, the will and how I understand it. The very beginning, if my wife survives me, I give her all my interests: automobiles, clothing, jewelry, household goods, furniture, furnishings, other articles of personal use or ornament, other effects of personal nature. And so I feel like that includes all of this behind me, as well as all the cars. What it does not mention is bank accounts. It also does not mention any ownership in businesses. It just mentions stuff. But Mom should have all that stuff. It shouldn't go into any other account. It shouldn't be divided in any way. It shouldn't it should be for her to use. I do understand that it needs to go through probate because it's listed in the will, and everything that was in Dad's name or everything that he had does need to go through the probate process in order to be transferred as ownership. I think that only applies to things that had his name on them. So I don't necessarily think that applies to all of this, but as I look around, none of it has his name on it. So Mom owns it free and clear without any rules. And a lot of this probably doesn't need to go on any kind of inventory. I don't think we need to count the number of shells. But things like the guns that are back over there in the closet were registered in Dad's name. So in order to register them in anybody else's name, it probably needs to go through the probate process. So that's how I understand it. And then the second part, if my wife survives me, I give to my trustee in trust, administered pursuant of Article 4. Such amount of property will be equal to the maximum marital distinction. So Article 4, just jumping over to it, it is the marital deduction trust. And what jumps out at me in this paragraph 2.2 is that federal estate tax is mentioned 5 times. So it's clear to me that Dad was trying to avoid federal estate tax and giving to Mom everything that was equal to the maximum marital deduction. So I don't know what that is. I think that that's a key piece of information to find out, and why it says will be equal to the maximum marital deduction, and not just the maximum marital deduction. I guess it's just legal speak. As I think about it, as I talk about it, I think the key question again is how much is that and what does that look like? And again, I think that would be in the bank accounts, and the such property will be equal to, I don't think that includes the property of the ranch or the Montgomery house in a trust, in the marital deduction trust, but because I think that can just go to her. And in continuing 2.2, it says 5 different sections of the Internal Revenue Code. I looked up some of these. One is has been revoked, so it doesn't even exist anymore. But there's 2518, 4980A, 2056B, 7, 2013, and 2011. And so there's a lot of that. And it mentions estate tax many, many times. I ask, what do these sections say? Do they still apply? And if they don't, can we cross them out? it talks about in the follow-on section, all of any qualified or unqualified employee benefits, so whatever dad had for his benefits with Murphy, those all go to mom, and if he had any life insurance, that goes to mom. And so once all of that has gone to mom, then there remains a residuary estate. And I said residuary estate, I looked it up on legal definitions, is a term used in probate law to identify the portion of an estate that remains after specific gifts and bequests have been made, and all claims of the estate are satisfied. So after I give my wife all of my interests and I give my wife in trust the maximum amount of the marital deduction, what I propose here is that there may not remain a residuary estate because everything that dad had has already been specifically gifted and bequested to mom. So what it says about the residuary estate is that if my wife or any child of mine under the age of 30, I give all my residuary estate to my trustee in trust to be administered pursuant Article 5, which Article 5 describes the family trust. So how much does that apply to? And if there's any contingent beneficiaries, there's a contingent trust, which I don't think applies either. But we've got a family trust and a contingent trust. Thereafter, the marital deduction trust, so there's 3 trusts. And the family trust is funded by the residuary estate. What I read here, what I understand here, is that there is no residuary estate because I don't think that there is any money left over after the maximum marital deduction. So I'd like for that understanding to be shared, or at least my understanding to be corrected if it's not accurate. And I'll have to upload this to YouTube because I went beyond 8 minutes, but that's the way I understand it. That's what I've gleaned from it, from writing notes and underlining and highlighting. And I hope that we can all come to the same agreement that the only trust that I guess should exist, if a trust is going to exist, is a marital deduction trust, which is all for mom, and there isn't a family trust and there isn't a contingency trust because there isn't a residuary estate. If I'm wrong, please let me know. If I'm right on my understanding of this, please let me know. Not so that I can be like, see, I was right, but so that we can all be on the same page. I am a firm believer that it doesn't matter who's wrong or right. The only thing that really matters is that what is right is understood by all. Yeah. Love you guys. Bye.